I hear so many Christians murmuring about their imperfections and their failures and their addictions and their shortcomings. And I see so little more. Murmur, murmur, murmur. Why am I this way? Make war! Bang with me, bang with me. Never play games, man, cause this thing can get risky. So man, if you in Christ, think all your cross quickly. Feelings on the front line, time to come with it. Ay, do the right thing, wake up and let's get it. I ain't even in the ring, they throwing balls like Riddick. Oh, persistently attacking me, they even in the back of me. You see the fight, I lose my life, and I can't take these passes. What you think I'm about to do? I'm about to do what I can do. Trust the one who got me through and fight like it was after school. Never giving up, steady, standing on the battlefield. Be firm to the ground like I stepped on your flesh, feeling frisky, seeing persuaded consent.
How you guys doing? Jason A. Kuhn here, giving you a Fight the Deception with Real Perception Christian News Brief for October 29th, 2013. We'll jump in it here at Infowars.com. Unmarked military gunboats patrol Louisiana canals. A video shows unmarked military gunboats patrolling the canals around Slidell, Louisiana. Apparently, the residents have never seen this in the area before. Is this part of some kind of drill, or is this just normal now in the new America to see armed troops patrolling public canals? Wow, a little 50-second long video here. You want to check it out, go to Infowars.com. Of course, it will be linked in the YouTube description box. We'll stay here at Infowars.com. Article written by Kit Daniels. United Nations to take over the Alamo. San Antonio, Texas Mayor Julian Castro is currently negotiating with the United Nations to designate the Alamo as a UN educational, scientific, and cultural organization, UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning that a blue UN flag may fly above the historic Shrine of Liberty once it falls under UN control. UNESCO, a specialized agency within the UN, created the World Heritage Site status out of a 1972 international agreement which calls for nations to join together to manage historic sites through collective assistance. San Antonio has the opportunity for its 5 Spanish colonial missions, including the Alamo, to be nominated to be the first UNESCO World Heritage Site in the state of Texas and the 22nd World Heritage designation in the United States. The October 2013 City of San Antonio newsletter reads. This reminds me of one of Alex Jones's first documentaries I've watched, America Destroyed by Design, where he literally goes through all the public parks, including Grand Canyon, and proves to you that they are all owned and controlled and operated by United Nations. Let's move on to San Francisco. CBSLocal.com. Google reportedly building more floating structures outside Bay Area. After KPIX5 reported on Google's mysterious project on a barge off Treasure Island, reports have surfaced of the tech giant building similar floating structures outside of the Bay Area. A report appearing in the Portland, Maine Press Herald showed shipping containers stacked on a barge in Maine, with the structure appearing virtually identical to the Bay Area barge. Also, an unconfirmed report suggests a Google barge is taking shape in New London and Connecticut. As KPIX5 exclusively reported on Friday, Google is believed to be building the floating structures to market Google Glass, the cutting-edge wearable computer that the company has under development. They're building on both coasts, said a source familiar with the Google project. Wow, we'll have to stay tuned to see what this is about. Let's move on. WorldTruth.tv, top 10 companies profiting from war. From 24/7 Wall Street, the business of war is profitable. In 2011, the 100 largest contractors sold $410 billion in arms and military services. Just 10 of those companies sold over $208 billion. Based on a list of the top 100 arms producing and military service companies in 2011 compiled by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, 24/7 Wall Street reviewed the 10 companies with the most military sales worldwide in 2011. These companies have benefited tremendously from the growth of military spending in the U.S., which by far has the largest military budget in the entire world. In 2000, the U.S. defense budget was approximately $312 billion. By 2011, that figure has grown to $712 billion. Arms sales grew alongside general defense spending growth. SIPRI noted that between 2002 and 2011, arms sales among the top 100 companies grew by 51%. This is a pretty lengthy article, so I suggest if you want to read it in full, worldtruth.tv. Of course, it will be linked in the YouTube description box, but I'll go through the top 10 for you. Number 10, United Technologies. Number 9, L3 Communications. Number 8, Finn McKenna. Can't really pronounce that. We'll move on. Number 7, EADS, E-A-D-S. Number 6, Northrop Grumman. Let's see, we're down to number 5, Raytheon. Let's go down to number 4, General Dynamics. Number 3, BAE Systems, BAE Systems. Number 2, Boeing. And number 1, of course, Lockheed Martin. Let's move on. NBCPhiladelphia.com, gender-neutral restrooms become new law. Wow. When Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter signed legislation Thursday to afford equal rights to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, he said he hoped Philadelphia would become the most LGBT-friendly city in the entire world. One piece of that comprehensive legislation will forever alter the restroom options in city-owned buildings. The legislation requires that new or renovated city-owned buildings include gender-neutral bathrooms in addition to traditional men's and women's restrooms. It can be an awkward and embarrassing situation for anyone who may feel more like a woman but can't use the women's room, said Councilman Jim Kenney, the bill's sponsor. Wow. Let's move on. RT.com, baby kept in car since birth. France stunned by parental cruelty. France is in a shock after the imagination-defying discovery of an infant girl who was kept in the trunk of a car by her parents for about 1.5 years since birth. The girl was naked and dehydrated when she was found and rescued by the mechanics at the garage in the town of Toulouse in southwestern France on Friday. The workers told TFI television they had been alarmed by moans and the strong smell of excrement coming from the trunk of the Piguet 307. The woman in her 40s who brought the car in for repairs tried to calm them down by saying that the strange noises were made by electronic toys that had just been switched on. However, the mechanics weren't satisfied and opened the trunk to see a small girl inside a basket. She was conscious but in filthy condition and seemed to have a fever, the worker said. I felt that the baby needed air and she was going to suffocate, one of the mechanics said. The article goes on to demonstrate how cruel these parents were to this little newborn baby. If you want to read more, of course, go to RT.com. It will be linked in the YouTube description box. We'll move on to the JerusalemPost.com. New York delivery man awarded $900,000 after 16 years of anti-Semitic harassment. Wow. A New York restaurant delivery man was awarded $900,000, a jury verdict for enduring 16 years of anti-Semitic harassment by 3 supervisors. The jury in Brooklyn Federal Court reached a verdict in favor of Adam Weresinski on October 24th in 4 hours, the New York Post reported Monday. One manager at the Mangia 57 restaurant in Manhattan would pass gas in front of Weresinski and then joke that it was Zyklon B used in the Nazi gas chambers during the Holocaust, the Post reported, citing the lawsuit. So this elderly Jewish man gets pretty much, might as well say, $1 million for harassment. I mean, when do you ever hear any kind of case like this? I mean, I watch civil suits all the time. The law shows people, courts, Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown. I mean, it is hard to get a defamation type or harassment type lawsuit, and if anything, it's usually capped at a limit. This guy gets $1 million. Do you think it's because he's a Jew? I mean, listen to some of these jokes. One manager would pass gas in front of Weresinski and then joke that it was Zyklon B. History states that Zyklon B was used as a disinfectant. So basically he was just joking that he was cleaning this guy. I'm not too sure how that works. But as you can see, if it's a Jew, they're going to get their way. Let's move on. RawSewerStory.com, mega church pastor defends mega mansion as gift from God. A North Carolina mega church pastor is defending the mega mansion as a gift from God. My wife and I made a decision and we built a house, Furtick said during church services Sunday. It's a big house and it's a beautiful house and we thank God for it. We understand everything we have comes from God. That's a bit of a reversal from a sermon he gave last month at Elevation Church, when he told his congregation that the 16,000 square foot home was not that great of a house. Furtick apologized to congregants for any uncomfortable conversations the Waxhaw home may have forced him to have after news reports revealed the size and scope of the house he's building. I've always tried to make this church where you could be proud of your church, Furtick said, which earned him a standing ovation from the congregation. Furtick whose sermons include references to prosperity theology, spent about 10 minutes addressing the controversy over his new home, which Elevation Church officials say was not a parsonage or a gift from the church. Tax records that list the value of the 19-acre property at $1.6 million, and the church's chief financial officer said Furtick paid $325,000 for it, which is also confirmed by tax records. Now, this is just the next step, and this is what you're promised when you teach prosperity gospel and you teach the tithing of the church, and you get you a mega church, and your weekly praise is based on how many people you get to come to your new church and give out money, and all your main sermons you touch on is tithing in Romans 13, obey your government no matter what, obey Hitler no matter what. And also the prosperity gospel, live your best life now, don't worry, gather your riches now here on earth. Don't worry about what you're going to have in heaven. I think that's it for today. I could go on rant for that for a long time, so we'll go to our New World Order quote of the day by Abraham Lincoln. The money power preys on the nation in times of peace and conspires against it in times of adversity. It is more despotic than monarchy, more insolent than autocracy, more selfish than bureaucracy. It denounces as public enemies all who question its methods or throw light upon its crimes. Again, that is by Abraham Lincoln. I don't want to leave you without the proverb of the day, Proverbs 19:17, King James only. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he hath given will he pay him again. That's all the news and articles I got for you guys today. I'll leave you guys off with the song I brought you in on by Flame and Tadashi, Make War.
You can see it in